There are many different ways to buy Bitcoin, but the cheapest and fastest way to buy Bitcoin with cash is with a coin flip Bitcoin ATM. Coin flip ATMs allow anyone to buy Bitcoin with the lowest fees and within just a few steps. Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm one of the hundreds of store owners who partner with CoinFlip. In this convenient store, we host a CoinFlip Bitcoin ATM. We earn passive income, more foot traffic, and we get free advertising done by the CoinFlip team. Getting the ATM was easy. We just contact the CoinFlip team at info@coinflip.tech, and they handle everything with no cost to the store owner. This includes installation, maintenance, marketing, and even 24/7 customer service. We just provide a small space within the store. To get your own CoinFlip Bitcoin ATM and join the monetary revolution, contact CoinFlip today. info@coinflip.tech or fill out the form at request.coinflip.tech. 773-800-0106.
All right, bro, we're live. Hey, how goes it?
Hey.
Yo, if you guys are watching this live right now, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment every single day. Somebody wins some crypto. You could win, or you could just request $10 in USDT from FIO@KENN. That's FIO@Ken. If you have your Edge wallet, just go ahead, request $10 in USDT. Every day, somebody wins. All you have to do is like and comment. Today, I'm with my bro, Jonathan from NFT Rapper. How goes it, bro?
Really good, really good. How are you?
I'm good, man. You got some sick bars you're going to drop? I hear you're a rapper.
No.
Different kind of rapper,
I take that credit. It's different type. So yeah, we're just rapping NFTs over here. So nothing too exciting.
Well, some NFTs now have music on them, so maybe you'll rap a rapper's wrapped NFT. That sounds like a Dr. Seuss lyric.
Yep. Surprisingly enough, one of our partners, he's like, oh, I can now call myself a rapper and a rapper.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a rapper and a rapper. If you're a rapper and a rapper, I mean, yeah. And then what you do on the holidays is you get a job gift wrapping, and you're a rapper who's rapping that raps.
We have to, yeah, Dr. Seuss book for sure, and then we can have NFT copies of the book, and you can purchase that, and you can unlock the book through the NFT. Done.
See, this dude's already on my level, guys. I'm digging it. Bro, introduce yourself. Let people know a little bit about like who you are, maybe how you got into crypto or Bitcoin, and how that led you to where you're at and what you're doing today with the NFT Rapper.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess 2013, I got introduced to Bitcoin. I was taking some low-level, I was taking some. Well, I was a poor college student, so. Saw this huge opportunity, had zero money.
As lucky as first world privilege can get.
Yeah. So I was like, Dad, did you see this? He's like, yeah, I saw that back in the day. I was like, what? Okay, but anyways. So
your dad heard about Bitcoin before you did?
Yeah, I knew nothing.
And he didn't tell you? Oh, that would... I'm getting him shit coins for Father's Day. That's what I would do.
He just bought 2 weeks ago for the first time. I'm a proud son.
Way to get even, though. Now every year you just go hang out for Father's Day. Just give him that little elbow and be like, hey, remember I got Bitcoin before you, right?
Yep.
So
forever.
How did you end up getting into it?
Yeah. So I mean, I just, I was taking econ classes, finance classes, right, and I'm just scrolling the internet as I did, and I came across this article, and it was like, this internet money, blah, blah, blah. And, these random articles, started looking some up, and I was like, well, you can mine it, and it had this kind of set distribution supply. And, my macro level teacher was very Austrian School of Thought economics focused. And I was like, yes, set supply makes sense. Let's actually measure our worth against something that's not moving. Rather than a moving measuring stick. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
So I'd looked around the finance world. I wanted to see where I kind of saw myself. And so economics was kind of the route I approached. I started taking some upper level classes and didn't really agree, I guess, and it didn't really fit with me. So I basically dropped all that and decided to study to be an actuary.
What do you agree with? Just out of curiosity, just curious what turned you off about it.
It just, like, we were going through the material and it just didn't logically make sense to me. So I don't like studying anything that that doesn't fit within certain frameworks, and it just didn't fit within certain frameworks.
Yeah, it seems like the educational system really likes to, sink their teeth into history repeats itself. So you have to learn 100 years ago to learn something that's relevant today, and it's really digressive rather than progressive.
Well, like, I mean, it's not only that, but I mean, they introduce a lot of theories and concepts. I'm like, cool, it's a great theory and practice, but look at all these instances where it's failed, and like, let's look at the things that are done correctly, and maybe if we don't distort the economic realities of, the situation, then we can just let the thing take care of itself, which it typically does.
That makes sense. So that's what turned you off, and where'd you go from there?
So I went actuarial science, so it's financial mathematics. Do you know what that is? You're looking.
No, it's not weird. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So basically, the people who calculate all of the insurance premiums and set your pension rates and set the annuity functions and calculate all of those to the thousandth of a millionth of a percent for a percentage rate. Those people, those hardcore number crunchers. That's what I went out to study, is to study that kind of low-level finance. So creating derivatives and creating different types of, like portfolios that had different like risks and that kind of stuff. Okay. So I took some of those classes, studied for about a year. That made a lot of sense to me. I realized I actually like talking to people, and so there is a little bit of that. It just takes a very focused person, and I like solving big problems. So, I within that, I took a really cool honors math class, and we were trying to combine biology or biology systems with mathematics, and so we were able to kind of test some weird theories where we could set some like low-level functions within certain mathematical organisms, and then they would create a higher set level of order based on like those parameters.
You just said mathematical organisms. That blew my mind. I'm just trying to like grasp what a mathematical organism looks like.
I mean, it's like, I'm probably making it sound really cool, but it really is just like a very basic function that like, it's like, I'm going to eat something if it's close by to me, and I'm going to like die if I don't get something to eat, something like that. And so kind of like a very low level, like very basic function. Like I have to eat at least, once every so often, and I have to drink water. And so kind of setting in a mathematical limitation, or defining these parameters similar to kind of
I feel like I've
human
seen some of these like YouTube videos on setting those parameters in like AI scenarios where like they'll have virtual situations occur, and I feel like I've seen some YouTube videos actually applying that in like a animated visual representation. Someone do like black and white dots eating each other.
Yeah, those are like pretty basic ones. There's it's skipping over me right now. But anyways, I love those systems, those types of like games, I guess. I grew up playing a lot of like real-time strategy computer games, so it's all about managing higher like levels of just all these systems that then absorb and code and destroy other systems. So I mean, that's a whole game theory type thing.
Right. War Games 2.0.
Yeah. So now everything's data.
Right. So when you got when you first got a hold of like Bitcoin and blockchain, it was probably just like a no-brainer for you, huh?
Yeah, pretty much no brainer. I bought some a little bit. I mined some.
Oh wow, mining it. How was that back then?
I mean, I was like, what? I'm not gonna get a full coin in a day. This is complete bull. Mining off my CPU.
Right. Kind of getting a little greedy with your electricity there.
Looking back now, I'm just like,
right.
If only I knew. Like, I mean, I was a kid, right? So
what were the average rewards for a miner back then? I think you said 2013. I'd imagine you were mining it.
Yeah, but I don't remember. It wasn't something that I did hardcore. It was just something that I tested. Yeah.
But at least you could, right? Today, imagine wanting to do that. It's damn near futile.
Yeah, I just downloaded Bitcoin Core to my PC and was like, all right, here we go.
Badass, dude. Gangster. That's some legendary shit right there. That's, trailblazing on the Oregon Trail of Satoshi Nakamoto.
Doing my part. So.
Well, you were definitely there before it was fucking cool, Like, I think that's actually cooler. So, yeah, so what came next?
So, so basically, Mt. Gox and BTC-E, so that kind of put me off. I was like, oh, well, all the extra liquidity I had kind of went to that and whatever. And so I basically sat on the sidelines and watched the space. I didn't know where to be involved. I was getting directed from I always want to do what my parents think is best for me type stuff. So, that kind of thing. So,
well, they're the wisies on top of the mountain, right? So, I mean, it makes sense to look towards the wisdom up there and follow what has obviously worked, right? They got up there, they got
absolutely.
You. Yeah, it makes sense. Unfortunately, this is a once in a lifetime generational gap technological moment. Like a lot of the times you'll see the kids teaching the parents about this, so I could see where you're going. But hey, at least your dad knew about it. He knew about it. That's a good start.
Yeah, it's funny. So so really after that, so I sat by the sidelines. 2017 happened. Obviously, everyone knew about Bitcoin then, and so I was like, okay, apparently I was correct with my theory. I better figure out how I can place myself in this emerging industry. And so, more life stuff happened. And then eventually in 2018, I basically didn't like where I was working. I was working at kind of a small mom and pop job. Funny enough, it's actually where I met my current business partner, who I wouldn't be anywhere. I mean, he is a genius and mad scientist and has a brain that's incredible. So all the coding and any computer execution that happens there, that's all him. I'm just kind of, I have the finance background and I studied for a long time this whole space and whatnot. So I can kind of architect some really unique systems, and then he's actually the one that executes what gets built. So credit for the code definitely goes to him.
There's always seems to be a Jobs and Wozniak, yin and yang partnership to really successful projects. So you have a good key ingredient there with you and him going. So that's what's up.
Yeah, Ben is pretty awesome. So really lucky to meet him. And then so I basically got really tired of the job that I was working. They were a little old school, so whatever. And so I was, being a little bit more forward thinking. I, stumbled upon crypto voxels in 2019 October, and I was like, there's virtual worlds being built, and there's a digital gold rush, and I felt like I was Max Kaiser, and I was running around this office, and I was like, I couldn't shut up, and I was like, I can't be here. So
I love when someone's inner Max Kaiser wakes up. It's so fun to watch because they're out of control and they like it. They're just it's so good to feel woke and try to wake people up next to you when you realize something like crypto voxels, remember Ready Player One, guys? Yeah, it's a thing.
They're like, how does this apply to me? I'm like, well, okay, you're an internet company, right? You can create a virtual store and offer your services to a global community.
Dude, I'm waiting for the eBay of crypto voxels or the eBay of virtual reality experiences. Somebody is going to disrupt the shopping economy. The e-commerce world is going to be tipped, flipped, and scrambled when somebody does what I don't know what it is. We don't know. But bro, it's going to make Amazon and eBay as prehistoric as the man delivering milk to your front door every morning.
Yep. I mean, it doesn't make sense to go to a mall anymore. Why would I go to a mall? I mean,
to pay more money for shit, right? I mean, that's why we go to the mall, right? To spend extra money.
Yeah, so it makes zero sense. I think these malls can essentially be reappropriated and have a virtual space. And if you have a similar mall model and you duplicate that globally, you can have a set number of virtual spaces that are shared globally. And you can, walk in, have a VR set, and you can, you could be shopping next to someone in Singapore, and you're like, oh, they like this Gucci handbag. Let's look at it in AR together or something. I have no idea. But
yeah, I'm waiting for
absolutely.
the those, what is it called, AutoCAD, the people that actually like build the schematics and blueprints for like physical buildings before they're built. They're basically already doing virtual development. They're just not applying it into a virtual world. They're actually making it be copied into a physical environment. I'm like, I'm really waiting for the guy who's like designed a local mini mall to design a mini mall in Crypto Voxels or Decentraland or whatever, bro. You name it. I'm waiting for that guy, because right now it's just neckbeards and nerds playing around with pixels on a screen. Wait for the experts. Wait for the professionals.
Yep. Yeah, there's lots of that. Actually, exciting enough. So in the middle of Frankfurt, we are building like a 13 parcel connected superstructure. And so to tangent a little bit. So, I mean, speaking of a mall, we'll have, it's the Frankfurt token exchange center. It's basically the New York Stock Exchange, but within Crypto Voxel.
That's pretty badass.
And so, we'll have an auditorium and just plenty of wall space for people to advertise their project.
Yeah, that's going to be the important key too, is the marketing in virtual worlds. That real estate, it's going to be prime. And I think a lot of it, with the way SEO is moving, I think that will be applied in virtual means as well. Depending on who you are, it will actually affect what you see as far as advertisements go in a virtual world. So me walking into that building that you created, I'll probably see a Splinterlands poster, because SEO knows that's what I'm into, that's what they'll throw me. But somebody who maybe just recently Googled a lawnmower that they need to buy, there could be a lawnmower ad in the same place that I see the Splinterlands ad, depending on whose eyes are on that material.
You're 100% spot on. Yeah, you can, I mean, it's all, it's just JavaScript in the website of things. And so, you can have it can see that you're the character that hopped in the world. And so, it can scrape that data. It's really cool. Ben Nolan is doing some really, really cool things. It's actually really incredible to see how far the Crypto Voxels platform has come in just this last year. I was looking back at some screenshots that I'd taken, and I was like, man, I've invested money in this space.
I played around with Voxels, Decentraland, Sandbox. I didn't go investor heavy. I'm basic end user enthusiast. So most of the shit that I have in my portfolio is just me fanboying. Oh, this is really cool. I want to play with it. And yeah, it turned out to be a good idea to be a fan of Crypto Voxels. Even Sandbox, dude, is killing it. That recent, I guess it was an official partnership with Smurfs? I think it was. It felt official. So. If it wasn't official, that shit might be in court sometime soon, because it damn looked official. So I saw Sandbox and Smurfs pop up, and I was like, these virtual cats are onto it. They know. And I think a lot of companies are seeing it during this lockdown, especially. It kind of progressed us to that virtual world tenfold faster than we probably would have without a lockdown.
Oh, yeah. The lockdown's great. I mean,
the lockdown's great. That's a fucking soundbite.
It is the first, probably the first time. But the virtual world's okay. Think about it. They're forcing people to stay indoors. This is the social connection. You want to connect to people? Connect virtually. It's the most obvious.
Bro, as an introvert, I enjoy this. I love it.
Same.
Nobody talks to me, bothers
me. Got
me.
a shield.
Yeah, people stay away from me. I don't even have to ask for elbow room anymore. It's nice. Hey, thanks for the subscription there, Zul. ZUL. I hope I said that right, bro. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that. If you guys are watching live, don't forget, like and comment. Request $10 in USDT from FIO@KENN. You can use your Edge wallet to do that. Today, I'm with Jonathan. We're talking about NFT Wrapper. I wanted to dive into maybe what inspired you, to create this project and some of those hardships that you've had to overcome. Sorry, your audio got cut. So sorry. Thank you, audience. It was only for that 1 minute right there. All right. Let me hear your mic. No, see, now I can't hear you. All right, give me 1 sec. Sorry about this, everybody. I thought I fixed this stupid sound issue, and I don't know why, but every once in a while, there we go, it's back. Every once in a while, Zoom or any video caller application I use will actually forget, like, somehow which microphone and which headset I'm using, and it'll go to default, and I don't use default.
Annoying.
Yeah, sorry about that. So start from the beginning again.
Okay, so so NFT Wrapper spun from Bittrees. So Bittrees is the corporation that I founded with my partner, and it's meant to be the corporate headquarters is in the virtual world, and we are essentially providing a utility, which is a portal network hub to the space. And so we just want people to be able to easily traverse the space. And so that's kind of the first utility. And then our focus has been to grow technology around the virtual worlds and their users. And so with that, I started exploring these company structures. And so I've collected essentially these NFTs and all, some of these virtual assets. I'm like, okay, well, how do I bundle these into a company structure that kind of makes sense with what I want to do? And, I looked at DAOs, and DAOs are cool, but a DAO is really kind of like a mutual. It's not necessarily, it could be a corporation, but it's not necessarily what I was looking for. So really what I was looking for was a trust company. And I realized that a trust company is just a simple way to shift assets into the balance sheet of another entity. And then you as the shareholder of the trust or the owner of the trust or beneficiary or whatever, you receive back a governance token or a type of governance symbol or whatever. And how that works right now is it's executed through using the lawyers, and you got to use accountants, and you got to use set up the legal structure.
It sounds like it's wrapped in centralization.
Very. And so the trust companies are the most basic fundamental structures of finance. Social Security is a trust. The Highway Fund is a trust. Medicare is a trust. The Federal Reserve is a mutual trust company, essentially. All trust companies at the most fundamental level. And so let's just duplicate that with technology. And so with, that's possible. And so
it's actually more than possible. It's better than the legacy alternative. So I would actually recommend, and you could have this for free. You don't even have to credit me. I wouldn't even call it a trust. With blockchain technology, I would call a trust a verify. Because you don't have to trust it. You can verify this.
Yeah, it's trust. Or
you can call it a trustless.
It's trustless. Trust. I think we started terming like micro trust because trusts are kind of seen as this very formal entity that only rich people have, and it's that's the case because of the centralization, right? And the reason why it's centralized is because holy crap, trust companies are amazing. You shift assets onto the balance sheet of the trust company, and then you can own the assets without incurring any liabilities. And so you can put a business in a trust company, and you can shift all the assets for the business, and then you could basically manage that business through the trust company because you only own the governance, and you never have to incur any debt. And you as the trust owner have zero risk, and all the risk just exists within the company.
Interesting, dude. The more you talk about this, the more it sounds like this is actually a key ingredient to the success of any NFT company. They will need this option for investors, and they will obviously look for something like what you're talking about.
Totally. That's kind of why I landed on this very basic function. So, if you get into some more of the technical stuff, so like what does a bank do, right? Like
they steal money.
What is it? Well, yeah, but what do they do at a fundamental level? People, when they think of a bank, what do they think? They think, okay, checking account, savings account, right?
Yeah, I mean, the
Is that what you
average
think?
person will think like convenience and economy, convenience with money. It just makes life a little easier to have a bank account so you can pay your bills rather than, going to a check cashing agency, giving them cash, getting the check written, writing it out to your, electric company and mailing them. People think convenience, I think, of most.
Mhm.
Security and convenience, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, but like a bank, the fundamental thing that a bank does is actually it's not taking deposits, and it's not giving people credit and that kind of stuff. I mean, maybe credit, but it's actually not taking deposits like that, like people think it. A bank, like when you look up banking as a definition in Google, it tells you, well, the definition of banking is to do the actions of a bank. Well, what is that? Okay.
You can't use the word in the
Well,
definition, Google. You know better.
yeah. So what banking is banks securitize or issue securities, and then they issue debt against those securities. That at a fundamental level is what banks do.
So they're debt
They create
issuers.
they create securities and issue debt against the securities. So they take a deposit of an NFT, and then they issue credit to the depositor. Okay, so what did we just do with the wrapping protocol? We created a function that allows you as a owner of an asset to deposit that asset into some type of entity that possibly you have sole control over. And now you can have that entity automatically issue you the governance rights or the credit or whatever for that asset.
Interesting. So I could potentially get a Lambo with a crypto kitty and keep my crypto kitty too.
Yep, 100%. You
That's
can
what
use
people
your
are going to
crypto
want
kitty.
when it gets into NFTs in the six figures, right? I mean, we're
Well,
starting to see a lot of these NFTs going for six figures right now. Race car NFTs, in-game assets, and even just scarce tokenized art is trading for six figures. People are going to want these means to be able to use those assets like they do with their traditional assets by being able to keep them, collateralize, take out a loan, buy something, and then still have what they had to get that money too. They want their shit that they own to be able to make them money. And how do they do that
yeah.
when it's tokenized?
Well, I mean, what they're doing is they're creating liquidity using technology. And so no longer do they have to be a servant to the banks and go to the banks and be like, do you accept this as collateral? Do you accept this as being something? No. You don't have to say that anymore. You can just go and create a vault or create this, use this protocol, create your own liquidity provider, and then you can create another token that acts as the inverse, and you can sell it on the open market and price it accordingly. So it makes it so you can sell a tiny fraction, and you can keep the underlying asset, and it does this entire fundamental process that banks have been doing for a long time.
This is what I've been talking about on this podcast for so long, bro, is when people say be your own bank, it doesn't mean having the keys to your money. It doesn't mean sleeping with your money under the mattress. It means doing what banks do. And this is something I've been saying that NFTs have been needing for a long time, is a way to do what banks do. I have digital real estate. Why can't I do with my digital real estate what people can do with their physical real estate?
Yep, exactly. And I mean, well, so I just look at what works in the real world. I'm like, wow, trust companies, they're brilliant. They've been fundamental business structures for as long as time, really. You have mutual trust companies to help collateralize risk, and then you had corporations created and all that kind of stuff. So all these different types of business structure complexities, it really stems from a very fundamental concept. And so if you can replace that fundamental concept with technology, you can replace everything else.
I dig it. So where's interoperability come into play with this, right? So when we say NFTs, a lot of people, the majority that know about these may think solely Ethereum, but there's a lot of different blockchains that support non-fungible token technology now. Where does NFT wrapper play well with other blockchains when it comes to interoperability?
Sure. I mean, the logic of these vault contracts, from my understanding, can be duplicated on these other blockchains. So I don't see any reason why, we're not doing that. And so we actually have been looking at Knirck protocol, or, Knirck next, because they look to be kind of, they look to be the next one for doing some of those NFTs. And so that just kind of makes logical sense. We started with Ethereum. It's the governance framework, right?
Yep.
Excuse me. Like, I started freaking out about Ethereum in, my handle's Raging Bitcoin. I'm like a Bitcoin maximalist, okay? Like, I'm wearing a Bitcoin hat, but I saw this governance framework happen in June with Compound, and I was like, dude, Lechner, like, this is, I mean, like, wow, the vision and like what you're doing here is really incredible, because you had the ICO boom, and that was just a cluster, right? Every person had a coin, and so I was just like, this is stupid. No one has a project. Everyone has a coin. Of course it's going to implode. This is horrible. And so this is an entirely new paradigm shift. And Lechner was amazing, because you already have a working product. That was their exit.
Yeah, a lot of projects.
They exited.
A lot of projects don't have working product. So it is refreshing to see something like Compound come out and actually have utility, you know what I mean, and actually provide a use case.
Well, it's their token is actually like, it's not only like a way to capture value and just demonstrate the value of the protocol, but it's governance for the protocol. And so if you want to give your protocol to the community and basically be like, hey guys, I don't want to have control over this. This is a community. Oh,
your camera cut off. But isn't
yep.
that just a way to scapegoat liability, right? Like, I feel like we're going to hear this phrase a lot, and I've said this before if you guys are familiar with the podcast, but I think we're going to see a lot of companies DAO out. And by DAO out, yep. I mean just distribute their responsibility and get away from any liability and just make it user error when something goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to have that also, but I think what is going to be the difference between it is, you have people that have been designing and architecting their protocol from the beginning in order to be given to the community, and then you have other projects that are actually a project company, and so their token, it doesn't really have utility and it's not really architected correctly. So in my opinion, I could see a difference between those two sets of companies, and I could probably see some type of legal action going. There's a lot of people breaking securities laws out there, and it's very interesting to see the degree that they're allowed to do things. So.
Well, how do you see NFT wrapper changing the structure for NFT projects when they could utilize something like this from the beginning, with foresight and hindsight, whatever in mind, right? Using that 2020 vision, what would a project do differently? Say if NFT wrapper was around during the CryptoKitties launch, how would a yep. company that utilizes non-fungible tokens and tokenized assets, what would they do now that they could utilize NFT wrapper?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually going to do this as just a cool kind of test thing. So essentially, from the beginning, you can have a auto-generative like art thing, similar to like CryptoKitties where you're breeding them and that kind of stuff, but some type of generative project, and you can have a vault connected to the generative project. And so from the beginning, you can have wrapped CryptoKitties with CryptoKitties, and you could have been you could have had this whole liquidity market. I stumbled upon CryptoKitties, January, in probably March or so, there was about 50,000 or so put it inside that vault. And I mean, if you had the ability to do that from the beginning, I think that project would have, a lot of those dead, worthless kitties would be in this vault, and you wouldn't have this kind of illiquid market. So true, I think we can solve some of those, very basic fundamental issues, because everything starts with a structure, right? And so in order to capture the value and create liquidity using technology, and you already have a great product, might as well, create liquidity.
Right, well, this
So
is
like,
why we don't see CryptoKitties on Binance, right? And this is why OpenSea doesn't look like Poloniex. But it sounds like we could see these NFT exchange marketplaces actually be designed now that there is a foundational infrastructure to build that on top of, providing the liquidity and being able to wrap these NFTs in those vaults. Do you think, we could see OpenSea progress to a Binance-like NFT exchange environment?
I mean, I don't see any reason why not. They could utilize a vault for every single one of the popular NFT contracts. And I mean, Pranksy is a great example of someone who just has a whole bunch of excess NFTs. And actually, I thought of him in mind when I built, excuse me, the Avastar vault. Because if you go on OpenSea, you're like, crazy, dude, you got 1 million Avastars. Just, you're trying to sell them. You've reduced the price from here to here to here. You're trying to sell them. So just dump them in the liquidity vault, get your liquidity. It's essentially, it's a derived value of the underlying assets, right? And so if the assets go up in value, then your total portfolio goes up in value, and you just capture that value through those tokens rather than holding the NFTs.
That's actually a really good advice for Pranksy right there, a way to utilize this. And if you guys are watching and or are a non-fungible artist, this is your opportunity to do professional level shit with your art right now. A lot of this that we've seen with the NFT space up until today has just been like a shit show for fun. It hasn't been something what we've seen recently with institutions moving hundreds of millions of dollars into Bitcoin. This is what NFTs need to see the same on-ramp momentum occur. We need to have these devices like NFT Wrapper. We need platforms to take advantage of them so we can see the NFT space grow with the cryptocurrency space.
Yep. The NFT space is missing liquidity. This automates that process and gives the power to the individual.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times I talk to landowners in Sandbox, Decentraland, Crypto Voxel, XYZ, talking about liquidity issues because their traditional investor mindset is kind of coming into this space with them, and they're not seeing the infrastructure that would provide some comfort to the amount of money they want to move in, so they don't.
Well, everyone wants to, I've talked to a number of, larger projects, and they're like, we want to buy and we want to invest, but they end up spending a whole bunch of money purchasing these assets. And what if it's not actually the asset they want to purchase?
Oh shit!
What if what they really want is to purchase a token representation of what the market will do? And because they really just want to track the performance of the market, they don't necessarily want the underlying asset. But right now, that's really the only option you have. And so if you were able to create some type of public, vault, which is what the Avastar's vault is, the public vault, it's what the Kitties vault is, it's a public vault. If you have these public derivative utilities, whatever, then anyone can capture that value. Anyone can add value to that project. You don't even have to own the underlying asset.
You know what I predict will come out of something like this? What you're going to see become a thing because of what you're doing? NFT stablecoins. We're going to see
100%.
a first NFT stablecoin because of something like NFT Wrapper. That's what's going to happen.
Yep. Yeah, I can see that. Actually, it's very interesting. I talked to a guy a little while ago, and he was like, I wonder if you could do an NFC vault, or do a vault and then have it issue a stablecoin and stay stable depending on as the things moved in and out of the vault.
Sort of like the Steam back dollar, like when Steam was the Steam it dollar or whatever.
Yeah, you could do that, but imagine like Ampleforth, because Ampleforth, have you seen that one?
No, I want to say like yes, Base, so I look cool and smart, but no.
It's like Base. Basically, it.
I know Base. I know Base. They got marketing fucking on point. Base marketing is on fleek, bro.
So, from my understanding, I'll just go with Ampleforth. Basically, they adjust. So they try to stay at 1-to-1 like parity with the dollar, but they do that through pure market mechanics. So they just adjust the quantity and that kind of stuff of the currency. And then as people buy into it, if it goes over $1, then they issue more. And then if it is less than $1, then they don't issue any. And so and they do like a rebasement every, 12 hours or 24 hours or whatever it is. I don't know. Great idea. Sorry, 1 second. So essentially, I think it would be really cool if you could do a vault and then have that mechanism as the opposite side of it. It would be very interesting.
Yeah, I would love to see how that would play out, especially right now since we're still in like the wild west of NFTs. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these tokens have kind of left the wild west. They're starting to get the sheriff vibe, with the SEC and regulations. But when it comes to non-fungibles, it's still very much Wild West. I mean, we're seeing very similar ICO or STO kind of concepts being launched in a non-fungible way to get around and obfuscate those laws and regulations. I think what we're going to see happen with non-fungible tokens during the next year or two will be what the cryptocurrencies couldn't do before regulations got involved. And I think now's the time that we're going to see NFTs really show what crypto could do without all that tight rope around its neck, so to speak, because non-fungibles are right now that opportunity. Like, people that are like, oh, I missed the Bitcoin boat. Fine. You're not missing the non-fungible one. Get in this. It's about to go.
No one even knows about it.
Right, exactly.
The crypto people don't even know about it. I mean, I'm a hardcore Bitcoiner, right? And I only found out about it October of last year, and man, to me, this made as much sense as Bitcoin. I was like, dude, CryptoKitties, it's the same logic for collateralized debt obligations. I created an entire shrine for it in CryptoVoxels because I was so enamored by the fact of what it was. And I left it there, and we worked on an entirely different project because I'm like, there's no market fit for this yet. This is way too early. And then everyone's doing Wrapper, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll work on this project.
It would have been too early if it wasn't for lockdown. Voxel, Sandbox, Decentraland, all of them exponentially moonshot it because of this lockdown, man. Nobody could have seen this. No TA or FA.
January, I think I had 20 times. I bought the Bistries Portal Network for $80. The whole thing, $80. Now I think my most recent purchase, I think I spent $5,000 on a property or 10 Ethereum. So you do the math.
Right, and that 10 Ethereum, you're gonna have to keep doing the math because I don't think Ethereum's slowing down anytime soon. I had a guest on the podcast a while back, right during the presidential announcements, and right then and there, the day of that announcement, and the way everything went politically, and then Vitalik went and announced V2. I'm like, okay. This is going to be kind of dulled down because of the world news. So, I kind of waited 2 days, and I was like, this Ethereum, it's going to take off because it's not moving. The fact that it didn't move at the announcement from Vitalik, that was an indicator for me that this is obviously just going to be like a pinball machine. Too much tension is being pulled before the industry lets go. And I think Ethereum, I'm not an Ethereum fanboy by any means. I have so many shitcoins tattooed on my body, and Ethereum ain't one. But I do see a lot of adoption growth for Ethereum, and due to adoption growth, that's price growth. It's just the scarcity, supply, demand aspect of it. Ethereum is set in a place unlike any other blockchain right now.
I mean, it's Bitcoin and then Ethereum for me. Bitcoin is my treasure chest. It's my gold. It sits there in the back, and then if I ever want to invest in the space, I look to Ethereum and I look to Ethereum assets. I don't look to Ethereum, so to speak, to invest, but I look to Ethereum assets. I look at the NFT products and some of the other governance tokens and liquidity tokens, but NFT derivatives, NFTs, governance tokens. But that's what I'm making investments. That's what I do. But my savings account, I use it as money and whatnot is supposed to be used back in the 1900s. It's like you say capitalism. Yeah, capitalism is if you have capital to invest in companies, not credit. Credit is not capitalism. That is communism.
Right. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people want to be they want to be coddled financially, and it's obviously not working, and it won't work. I think we're going to see a financial dodo effect where people just walk off that financial cliff, hodling their dollars, while most of us have these Bitcoin parachutes.
They're gonna hodl, they'll hodl dollars and hodl gold, and unfortunately, the world's going digital. I've been having kind of weekly talks with this guy who owns a life insurance company, and he kind of came to me. He's like, hey, me and my friends, we buried our heads in the sand, and teach me about this Bitcoin stuff, because like obviously we were wrong about the finance world. Like he's a old school finance person, a saver, and so I came to him in September. I was like, yo, these repo rates went up to 10%. Like something is happening, something big is happening. Like, are you worried? And he's like, no, go read this book. And I was like, all right, well, you're not ready yet. So we've been talking since March, and he's like, dude, he is finally now this like hardcore Bitcoiner. It's hilarious. He was like, you have to erase everything. You have to draw in crayons. And I'm like, it's almost 60-year-old guy telling me that his colleagues, he needs to draw in crayons in order to explain to his colleagues this information that I've kind of explained to him and stuff like that. And he's just like,
yeah, well, that's the problem with educated morons in first world environments. It's just that attaboy syndrome. You get patted on the back your whole life, you start to think you're a genius.
Well, we detached our money from gold in 1971, 1975. It took a little bit of time to get adjusted, but the investment paradigm has been index funds ever since. So if every single person is investing in index funds, what do you think is going to perform really well?
Sounds like index funds,
probably.
Man.
Maybe index funds.
While we're tokenizing everything, I'm starting to see athletes and entertainers tokenize themselves, from football players, basketball players. I think yesterday Lil Yachty announced that he's tokenizing himself, and I'm looking at these athletes and artists, and they already have digital collectibles. Whether it's a sports athlete who has playing cards, or an artist who has music, or whatever, I'm thinking we may see a very interesting adoption curve for NFTs when it comes to individual utility. So I might be able to invest in, you said you were talking to a friend who does insurance. I could actually be a shareholder in your insurance policy. That is insane to even fucking say out loud. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could have a share of your insurance fucking policy. Imagine if you couldn't get insurance, but your community knows this dude is a healthy motherfucker, bro. He exercises, he eats right. He just doesn't have the money to pay for his own insurance. Fuck it. We'll cover his ass.
Yep. Well, the cool thing about the life insurance contracts is, if you create a mutual life insurance policy and a small mutual insurance company, then if everyone pays their dividend into that, and if you track a collateral and you have a cash benefit for your life insurance policies, then essentially over time, your dividend that your life insurance policy pays out will be higher than the cost of your life insurance policy, and it will pay for itself.
Yep.
And so, using Bitcoin as the collateral for a life insurance policy is something that someone hasn't done yet, which is really surprising, considering that gold was actually the main collateral source for life insurance policies up until the recent switch. And that's probably a big reason why you have a lot of your negative yields, because people are using dollars as the collateral for the life insurance and pension funds, when it really should be, gold and whatnot, not just not debt.
Well, you should be backing your life with scarce resources, not something that just goes brr.
Yeah. So deposit Bitcoin into your life insurance policy. If for some reason your life insurance policy, you're afraid that you're not going to be, it's not going to pay for itself, you're not going to be pay it, you can purchase another insurance policy, probably something that Andre has cooked up. And so, with Nexus Mutual or whatever. And so you can purchase a insurance policy that, is 100th the cost of your dividend for that. And then if the case happens that you can't pay for your life insurance policy, then your insurance kicks in and it covers you for a certain time period.
It sounds great, but it also sounds too disruptive. And whenever you start to talk about disruptiveness, you're talking about taking money out of somebody's pocket. You're going to put somebody into a situation of obsolescence. So I'm curious, who do you think that you guys may make obsolete when mainstream adopted NFT wrapper is out there, right? Mainstream use cases is happening. Who is now obsolete? You know, Netflix made Blockbuster no longer relevant. With being able to wrap NFTs and be able to collateralize, provide liquidity to these things, and even do your own, like, that is what self-sovereignty is all about, being your own bank and all these things. Who do you think is, like, going to be your number one enemy? May not be, like, your enemy, but who do you think will consider you an enemy during your progressive phases as you go into mainstream adoption?
The banks.
So I don't have to take my car title to the bank anymore to get a loan.
No, you can just deposit it into here. You can use the decentralized protocol to, you know, your whatever. So, yeah, when you automate things, it can be a little disruptive. And unfortunately, for them, this advancement in communications technology, which is what Bitcoin is an advancement in how we communicate our value. And since we can communicate value digitally, we can apply logic to that digital system. And the logic applied to those digital systems can replace the need for a third party and replace the need for a middleman. And so using technology, we can actually eliminate counterparty risk, which is what the SEC and other large companies, you know, our regulatory bodies are set out to do. They're trying to protect the consumer. Well, guys, let's just protect the consumer by providing really good technology. And then the technology protects the consumer. And I don't have to worry about abuse from any individual because I can just track technology.
Yeah, but what about the jobs? What about the jobs, man? They're coming, they're going to take our gerbs. Technology took our gerb.
Well, they should have been innovating. What are they doing? They had 100-year headway and they didn't innovate. Well, eventually someone is going to come along and replace them.
But doesn't too much innovation cause issue, right? And we're seeing, well, I guess before the pandemic, we were starting to see a lot of that, where like the automation industry is disrupting, you know, the employment industry, and as technology does progress and does replace human intervention, the IoT is taking over human resources. Do you think that we're going to a dystopian or a utopian future with this? Like, I sort of am on that cusp of, like, this is a very fine line, like Black Mirror-esque, you know, vibes.
A little bit.
You know, where do you see this going? Do you worry about that remedial job opportunity for people? Because, I mean, there's people that, you know, there's always going to be people that can't be CEOs, right? They just don't, they're not going to be their own boss. They don't want to be their own bank. Where do those people, you know, where are they at in this future?
So I didn't set out on this technology innovation adventure to be a CEO. I didn't set off to lead. I didn't set off to really lead people. I didn't set off to do all this kind of stuff. It's just kind of ended up what's happening. I set off to help people, and I wanted to provide really cool technology that helps empower people. And through the tools that my business partner and I developed, I just want to empower people. And so keeping that in mind, I mean, everything else is kind of just going to happen. But as long as I'm helping people and as long as I'm trying to protect people, I mean, that's really my, that's kind of the basic thing that I'm doing here. So technology is a really cool way to do that. I've been screwed over by banking institutions.
Same.
You know, banks make close to $50 billion a year just charging consumers overdraft fees, which is insane to me because they can eliminate counterparty risk if they wanted to, but they choose not to because they choose to charge people who can't already afford to pay their bills and have zero money. They charge them $50 billion.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Insane. So that it makes me angry. And so therefore I decided to innovate and provide people with alternative options.
So is NFT Wrapper a project in mind of, being decentralized and not having an oversight body? Like you walk away and it just
Oh yeah.
exists and works?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So my plan from the beginning has been to incorporate, this compound release, this Uniswap release, and so we are going to communitize this platform. Essentially, what this platform is a meta deployer for all types of different company structures and whatnot. So you can create this most basic trust company up to any type of different company structure. But because we provide the tools to do the most basic stuff, if you have like a DAO contract, or if you like Metacartel, or all these other DAO protocols, you can just incorporate our vault contract into yours and utilize this technology. And so that's kind of what we've had in mind. And we are going to do, so we're in the middle of just tying up some loose ends, and then once the project is totally complete, which really it's not going to take much time, it's a really simple project.
That's usually the best ones are the simple ones.
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
Well, look at Uniswap, man. Uniswap's
right,
so
exactly,
simple.
exactly.
So simple. So, and that's like from the beginning, that's what I've been trying to design this around, just Uniswaps for like the UI, UX that Uniswap does. I'm like, let's just do what works really well. So, so I think overall, we'll do probably like a 10-year release. So we'll do a gamification of the platform where if you're utilizing this contract protocol, if you're utilizing the vaults, if you're holding the governance token, then you will take part in the staking or in the mining rewards. And so over the period of 10 years, those tokens will be distributed out to the people that use it. And to my understanding, this is something that's going to take a little bit of time for people to absorb. So 10 years, I think, seems fair, because there are people in the third world that are not going to hear about this technology for a long time, and I don't want to discount people in the third world that might be introduced to this platform in 7 years, and if they have the opportunity to stake some tokens or to mine some because they created a vault. I just want to have that opportunity for people. So
I think that this provides that opportunity for sure. I think, what would be great to see third world use case when it comes to being able to do a non-fungible token with NFT Wrapper, I think could replace projects like Red Cross or charitable donational, projects where I could just, maybe grab an NFT from a village or a town or an individual to support them. Sort of like, I think in the early 90s, it was really popular to like adopt a child over the phone, and they would send you like a picture in the mail of the kid that you're sending like $1 a day to or something. I think that could be easily tokenized.
That was definitely a thing.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, that was definitely a thing. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, you could do that. You could, I could see a Red Cross being a DAO, and then the Red Cross has multiple vaults, and each of those vaults are different types of trusts, and they have different parameters around it. And then the DAO manages those trusts.
See, this is where the Red Cross is either going to do what Blockbuster didn't do, or somebody will Netflix the fuck out of the Red Cross with NFTs, NFT Wrapper, and self-sovereign tokenization for being able to have individuals invest in you and provide liquidity for you in your life. I mean, that's kind of what I looked at the Petro in Venezuela. I thought, when they announced that, I was like, well, if it were to work out, and be decentralized and be like a crypto, I could just buy some Petro from the Venezuelan marketplace and actually provide liquidity and give them more market cap to play with. I could actually increase the quality of life for all Venezuelans by buying some Petro. And this can be done, with NFTs as well. Actually, probably more so.
I would say NFTs add the degree of complexity that cryptocurrency has been missing. You kind of need that duality where you're going back and forth between liquid currency and contracts, because we are social people, and ultimately, even if we're introverted and whatnot, and so you can't automate away the social aspect of humans. And if you do, they're no longer humans. And so you have to have that type of social contract. And then, this liquid currency, I look at Bitcoin as a natural resource of the internet. Okay. It exists because the internet exists. Just like gold exists because physical gold exists in the globe. It's a physical object. And so Bitcoin exists, and you mine it out of the internet just like you would mine gold. So it's a natural resource. And, Litecoin's a natural resource. Ethereum is just this massive project. And so someone made a funny comment. It's like, oh, is Ethereum Vitalik's social token? And I'm like, technically, technically,
if you were invested in Ethereum back when Vitalik died, you would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that article, and I remember I think, dude, it lost like 300% the day like he died. He died. He's not fucking dead, by the way. At least not as of recording this podcast. But when they announced that he was, when he wasn't, it did affect the price very strongly. So I would say, yeah, it is a Vitalik social token, of course. And I would have said the same thing about Litecoin and Charlie Lee until he kind of financially detached himself from
the top.
Yeah. Hey, he told everybody what was up. He didn't hide it. He said, "Hey guys, this is ridiculousness."
I mean, I would probably have done the same thing. So
right. I probably would have done the same thing without telling anybody. So I give him a lot of respect for doing that much.
Well, I think it would have gone the opposite way if he would have not told everyone.
He didn't have to tell anybody. He sold it 2 weeks before he even told anybody. So it had zero effect on the price when he actually fucking did it. And then when he announced that he did it, it still didn't have an effect on the price. You could look at the damn tickers. Go to the exchanges. Go look at the charts. It didn't affect anything, which is
crazy.
Really crazy. Exactly. So I guess to wrap things up, is there anything that we didn't get a chance to talk about that you were looking forward to mention, or any topics that you wanted to make sure that we brought up before we wrap things up here? Pun intended.
Not necessarily. I mean, this is meant to provide automatic liquidity for any NFT. So if you are a bag holder of some NFTs, please feel free to reach out to me, because we can, create a unique vault for that. Or also, be sure to keep you in mind when we have our deployer. So because the deployer is really supposed to be giving the hands back to the users. And so you can create a vault, you can create a vault, you can create a vault, and it's just going to Oprah vaults.
I love it. I love that. Yo, guys, if you start a vault, please make sure to let me know in the comments. There's a chance I'll fucks with your vault. I mean, that's non-fungibles. People always ask me, bro, like, what's your bag, and like, what are you holding? What's your blockfolio look like? And it's like, it's Bitcoin and a whole bunch of NFTs, way more NFTs than are reasonable. Like, I think I have a problem. So when it comes to NFTs, for me personally, this is a financial saving grace, bro. Like, I don't sell, I only buy. And I'll be honest, I haven't really lost much buying these NFTs. I know people will be like, oh, well, if you would have just hodled your Ethereum or hodled your Bitcoin. I'm like, a lot of these fucking NFTs have gone up more so than the currencies they were built on.
Way more. They're a scarce digital asset built on a currency that has an unlimited supply. Use your head.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That's where I used my head when it came to NFTs, and it's gone very well for me so far. Totally not financial advice, but like personal opinion, NFTs are going to do what Bitcoin did, and I think, Jonathan's right. It's gonna take 10 years. Bitcoin took 10 years, and look where it's at. I don't think we're going to see that exponential growth or exponential adoption curve. I don't think we're going to see that, like, that S that we want to see. I think NFTs will have that 10-year adoption phase similar to Bitcoin's recent 10-year adoption phase. And we're right now at the cusp of, like, color coins. We're just playing around with NFTs. And as projects like NFT Wrapper pop up into existence to be utilized, it provides more functionality to non-fungible tokens and digital assets that we're probably keeping Century 21 from tokenizing physical real estate to provide an NFT, deed to the house.
Oh, that's coming so soon. Digital copies of real estate dude, once it's digital, you could do anything you want with it. So
and that's the point. You should be able to.
If you have a digital copy of your like mortgage, or if your deed to your house, you can create a private vault and put it in this. Like, there's no limitation.
I want to wrap up on this one topic, final question, because you just stirred it up in me, and I want to cover this for the chat. Okay, legal repercussions and implications for this, right? What suable means do we have, or what liability do we have if I were to personally tokenize my house and then provide that to NFT wrapper, provide liquidity, and then I sold my house to somebody who had no fucking idea that the deed digitally was tied to this NFT environment? What, like, do you see, like, there's obviously none in the frameworks, but what legal frameworks do you see that we would need for this to have the same kind of security that we expect from those repercussions that can be sown when you're, maliciously or nefariously taken advantage of in a traditional investment environment?
Totally. Well, I mean, we just look what happens in the normal world. When someone has to buy a house, I mean, they look at the different, if there's liens on the property, if there's, different, if it's bundled in a trust or something like that. I mean, the purchaser typically knows that is that certain way. And, the great thing about the Ethereum blockchain that everyone knows is it's all right there in the open. So if your property title that you're buying is wrapped in a trust and, there's liquidity out there, you're going to know. It's going to be really obvious that is where.
You know what's funny? So, this could actually provide more value to the house being resold than actually decreasing the property value, which is fucking insane when you think about being able to digitally secure the value of physical real estate. What? Yeah. Talk to anybody that's a realtor, bro, and try to just even talk to them about this concept without knowing anything about tokenomics. Bro, you're going to sound like either God or a savant.
Yeah, I mean, once it's digital, you can do anything you want with it. And this technology allows you to do what you want. And the regulatory framework is supposed to protect the consumer. So let's protect the consumer by providing good technology.
I love that. All right, that's a great quote, guys. I'm going to wrap things up here. Much appreciated, bro. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was actually a lot of fun, man. We should definitely do this again. Maybe not so much focus on like NFT wrapper, but just like NFT bullshit. We've already dug into the NFT wrapper side of your project. I'd like to have you on just to shoot the shit about NFTs in general, because as much as I am as a fan, I think that's why I hate them as much as I love them. I feel like I know too much, and that's why I'm just like on that fence of like, oh, they're great. Like, no, we're all playing with Pong on Atari, and we think we think we're on that next gen console. This is very basic bitch technology right now, and I'm excited to see what it can really do. So I'd love to have you back on the podcast.
Absolutely, I'd love to hang.
All right, guys.
Talk about Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, it's B.
That's why we're all here.
It really is. You know what's funny though? I'll say this before I go. Ethereum is why I bought Bitcoin, but I didn't buy Ethereum when I bought Bitcoin. Yeah.
Crazy.
Shout out to Vitalik and Andreas for that one. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap things up here. NFT wrapper, check it out. Let me know if you guys start a vault, or maybe mention this to somebody who creates NFTs, an artist, a company, projects in general that are doing non-fungible assets. Reach out to them and let them know that NFT wrapper exists so they could take advantage of it for you to utilize as the end user. All right, as always, don't forget, have a day.
There are many different ways to buy Bitcoin, but the cheapest and fastest way to buy Bitcoin with cash is with a coin flip Bitcoin ATM. Coin flip ATMs allow anyone to buy Bitcoin with the lowest fees and within just a few steps. Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm one of the hundreds of store owners who partner with CoinFlip. In this convenience store, we host a CoinFlip Bitcoin ATM. We earn passive income. more foot traffic, and we get free advertising done by the CoinFlip team. Getting the ATM was easy. We just contact the CoinFlip team at info@coinflip.tech, and they handle everything with no cost to the store owner. This includes installation, maintenance, marketing, and even 24/7 customer service. We just provide a small space within the store. To get your own CoinFlip Bitcoin ATM and join the monetary revolution, contact CoinFlip today. info@coinflip.tech or fill out the form at request.coinflip.tech. 773-800-0106.